Today, we'll be doing part 2 of He's Just a Salesman. In every market, the flow of goods and services is always determined by consumers, in other words, buyers. Even the prices of goods and services is still controlled by the buyers, or what economists would say demand and supply. But when critically analyzed, demand is what always determines the price. Marketers and salesmen will thus do anything to appeal to the needs of buyers. For the sake of this video, please note that the words marketers, salesmen, suppliers, etc. refer to guys or men, while the word consumers, buyers or purchaser refers to ladies or women. A very important thing I want us to tackle today is an impulse and a panic buyer, and the effect these two types of buying have on our relationships. An impulse purchase or impulse buying is an unplanned decision to buy a product or service made just before a purchase. One tends to make such purchases is referred to as an impulse purchaser or impulse buyer. Research findings suggest that emotions and feelings play a decisive role in purchasing, triggered by seeing the product or upon exposure to a well-crafted promotional message. The two most fundamental elements of an impulse purchase definition are this. 1. It is unplanned and it stems from a shopper's emotions. A consumer purchases a product on the spot based on their feelings at that moment. It's completely spontaneous and spur of the moment. They could see a product they like and want to scoop it up before it's gone. Typically speaking, reason doesn't play a large part in an impulse purchase. The need for a particular product comes from an emotional place inside the consumer. Whether we are aware or not, all of us have been or are still victims to impulse buying. The major problem with impulse buying is just a day or two after purchasing the product, we start realizing we really did not need the product in the first place. But because we always want to justify why we should buy more, instead of admitting we made the wrong decision in choosing to buy the product in the first place, we start finding problems with the product, most of which are non-existent. Research upon research shows that marketers and salesmen always try to exploit this weakness of buyers, knowing there's the tendency for the majority of buyers to buy out of impulse. Relating the above to our relationships, you start realizing that most salesmen, that is guys, know this, and they always try to appeal to the emotional side of purchasers, that is ladies. Just like impulse buyers, majority of you sisters today rush into what I call impulse acceptance of proposals. You meet a guy and everything that appeals to you is his appearance, his smile, and all the visible things that make you feel emotionally high at that moment. Hence, you fail to ask the most important questions. The Chinese understand this. That is why they concentrate on flashy appearance of their product, only for you to realize it is a total waste of time buying it because it doesn't work. Most of our sisters today always think there's something wrong with their guys, but the critical analysis always reveals that in most of the time, there's nothing wrong with these guys. But just like an impulse buyer, you did not have any special reason for accepting his proposal, that is buying his product. And hence there's the tendency to start finding problems with him, most of which are non-existent. To really get things up and rolling in our relationships, sisters need to realize their decision at the very beginning becomes the turning point of how things will go in the long run. We will talk about a panic buyer in our next video. To my sisters, please and please, desist from being an impulse buyer and become a decisive buyer. Ask the most important questions such as, do I really need this product? What are the shortcomings of the product? And will I be able to deal with the shortcomings?